Okay, one more thing. Now that the car is off after the testing that I already made the video of, Lokar did not come with this bracket. This bracket is a sonnax bracket. It is supposed to basically fix the geometry of the movement. It's supposed to make this geometry linear so that this thing moves straight as much as possible, because it wants to go in an arc. It is non-linear. You want the throttle and the TV linkage on the transmission to move as much as in sync as possible. Like you want to have the same arc of travel and the same distance of travel on the arc. So that said, I did have to do some I had to do some messing around with it. What I ended up finding was an article that explained that fact, that the TV and the throttle have to move in the same arc. I did not understand that fact before. Maybe I'm slow. What it is that the distance between the throttle link and this is supposed to be at least similar or the same as the distance between the pivot point on the transmission and the TV link where it hooks up. Lokar has, and I'll show you below, because people had said to recommended this sonnax geometry corrector. When I had the cable hooked where Lokar said for me to hook the cable up, I was not getting the right travels with it. So I was gonna either remove this sonnax geometry thing or figure out what's wrong. So what's wrong was basically this distance between the pivot point and here comes out to be about 53 millimeters. It could be wrong, but don't take my word for it. Don't take it to the bank. I measured with a little ruler. So anyway, that is about 53 millimeters. And when I go back down to the transmission, it's hot. There are two holes. The top hole is 53, the bottom hole is 60. Lokar recommended that I do the top hole so that I could, Lokar recommends the bottom hole for Holley carburetors. I was not, using that sonnax geometry corrector, basically, I had to put this Lokar cable back up on the top thing. And another thing, when I said I had to do some modifications, it was a very simple mod. I had to put a return spring. This return spring makes sure that I go to 0 TV pressure when I'm at idle. What was happening was that the return spring that is on the cable and internally was not good enough or hard enough to go against the bushings and push this all the way back. So it would kind of hang, it would have a little quarter inch maybe, or a little less than that, of movement left after it went to idle. It should have been at idle and 0. Oh, I have a leak somewhere. I just noticed that. I gotta figure that out. Probably the TV port where I was doing the testing. Hopefully the TV port and nothing else. We'll figure that out. But that said, what I did have to do is basically use this return spring. It's a light enough return spring, and this return spring makes sure that I can get back to 0 TV pressure. Why that's important is because if you're slowing down for a red light, the car doesn't want to shift out a second if there's TV pressure. As soon as the TV pressure drops, the car wants to shift out of. If it drops to 0, it'll then shift back out of second to go to first. If we don't have that, the car doesn't want to shift right. So you basically, if the light turns green, you will be taking off on second gear or stalling. So that's kind of where that is important, and it's a simple mod, and it works well now. So there's that, but the transmission is basically done. I have nothing else to do on it. I will just be putting the front wheels on and rolling it out, going to the exhaust shop and getting this car road ready. So yeah, see you all on the forum.